Hello loves and welcome to today's video. I am in my desk office part of my apartment because today I am going to be going over the books from the second half of the year that I am most looking forward to, the ones that are on my radar. I did a similar thing in the beginning of the year, but I think I have like 30-ish at least more books that I'm looking forward to. So I figured I'd make a part two. So I have my trusty laptop with Goodreads open here. We'll go over the books. I will hopefully remember to actually say when they release this time, and let's get started. The first book on my radar is Semi-Well-Adjusted Despite Literally Everything by Alison Stoner. This is a memoir of Alison Stoner, who was a child star. I personally know her from like Missy Elliott music videos and from various Disney Channel shows like The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. I do find it really interesting to learn about what was going on behind the scenes of my favorite childhood shows. And from seeing her talk on various podcasts, I think that it is going to be a really illuminating book about the nature of child stardom. And that comes out on August 12th. The next book is The Faceless Thing We Adore by Hester Steele. This comes out on August 5th. This is a horror novel about someone who is going through a very bad breakup, and then they find this community. Wait, did I say community? I think I meant to say cult, including the person they keep chained in the basement, a rot that is infecting the land. Based on the description mentioning gods, I think this might be like a Lovecraftian horror. The cover of this one looks so cool. The description I'm totally in for, so I'm looking forward to this one. Next book is The Burial Tide by Neil Sharpson. This comes out on September 9th. I'm familiar with Neil Sharpson because Knock Knock Open Wide is on my TBR list. I actually have it out from the library right now, and after I finish the book I'm currently reading, it's probably next on my list. The Burial Tide is based on Irish folklore, which I love a folklore, I love a mythology. This is about a woman who crawls out of her own grave and has no memory of who she is, where she came from, and she slowly has to try to piece together what her life was like before she died and who she can trust to tell her the truth. Sounds amazing, and if there's gonna be Irish folklore, it's horror, thriller, I'm looking forward to that. It will probably be a spooky good time, so I'm looking forward to that one. Next on my list is Spit Back the Bones by Tegan Olivia King. This book comes out on September 23rd. A moment for the cover because I would totally get that tattooed on me. That looks so freaking cool. And this is about a bog. We all know from my review of My Darling Dreadful Thing and of Blood on Her Tongue, I love a bog body. This is about a woman who can hear dead bodies calling her from the bog, and when her brother goes missing, she like flees her hometown because she's so afraid that one of the voices of the dead she hears is gonna be her brother. So she leaves for like 3 years, and then her sister asks her to come back for her graduation. She goes back, arrives in the town, and is told that her sister is also now missing too. This one is listed as a horror-mance. So, interested to see where the romance comes into this, but I'm always down for horror. I'm always down for bog bodies, and the cover looks sick. So, on my radar, looking forward to it. Next, based on my channel name, it should be no surprise that I have The Women of Artemis by Hannah Lynn on my radar. This one comes out October 21st. Artemis is my favorite of the Greek gods. I have Artemis tattooed on me. I named my channel after her. I have been waiting for someone to do a Greek mythology retelling that involved Artemis as something other than a side character because she deserves to have all of the attention. From the description, this seems to be about the Amazons, but given that it says The Women of Artemis, she better be a major character, is all I'm saying. I have expectations at this point. I'm hoping that this book can follow through on them. The next one is probably the one I'm like most unsure about on my list, and that's Tom's Crossing by Mark Z. Danielewski, very famously known as the author who wrote House of Leaves, a 5-star book, one I loved, probably one of my favorite books of all time. So Obviously, I do want to read more Mark-Z. Danielewski. My hesitation is that this one is listed as a Western. Westerns is like the one genre of film outside of the French New Wave that I know I don't like and have very rarely actually found one that I enjoyed. There's a singular Western I have ever enjoyed, so maybe this will be the singular Western book I enjoy. It is about two men who are trying to save a pair of horses from slaughter. But hold up. For sure, no one expected the dead to rise, but they did. Is this a zombie book? A zombie Western? I don't know. There's some elements of little tasty nuggets that things could redeem this book for me. So I'm hoping, holy shit, it's 1,232 pages. Woof. Okay, well, we'll see how that goes when it comes out in October. Next, a book that I think is super sick looking is The Resurrectionist by Kathleen S. Allen. This is a tale of gothic horror. This is about a 17-year-old whose father has died, and she finds his hidden journal, which has the secret to bringing someone back from the dead. So Dilly finds herself drawn into a medical underworld of corpse stealing, grave robbing, and even murder. Fascinating. Interesting. A twisty, atmospheric, Frankensteinian tale. It is YA, but that sounds sick, so I'm looking forward to that one. Next is one that I pretty sure I got approved for an ARC of and will hopefully get to read very soon. Slash Beauties by A. Rushby. This is a gothic feminist body horror. Say less, honestly, about anatomical Venuses. I recently read one of the Veronica Speedwell novels, which has anatomical Venuses as a key point of the plot. I didn't know what they were before that, but I'm absolutely fascinated by it as a concept now. Come to life at night to murder men who have wronged them? I'm in. Okay, again, say less. I am so excited to read this. The cover, beautiful. I'm hoping that it lives up to that because it sounds like it's gonna be pretty sick. Who is A. Rushby? Okay, they're a woman. Whew. I got a little worried there for a second. And I think it's a debut? Okay. One of the probably top ones I'm looking forward to. That one comes out on September 23rd. By the way, I'm doing this technically in order of release date, except some of them Goodreads has the date listed as unknown, even though if you go into the posting, it does have a date. These are the unknowns. Going forward, they will be in release order. The next book is technically published, but not in English yet, and that is Crossroads of Ravens by Andrzej Sapkowski. I'm sorry to my Polish ancestors. Y'all didn't teach me how to speak Polish. This is a new Witcher novel. Love the Witcher video games, have read all the books. Some I loved more than others, but overall did enjoy the series. I do particularly love the prequel ones, so I'm excited. Crossroads of Ravens. I am looking forward to diving back into the world during the very long wait for The Witcher 4, which I'm also excited for because we get to play as Ciri, though I will miss Geralt. And another translation that I've been waiting for a while is School of Shards by Marina and Sergei Janchenko. This is the third Vita Nostra novel. I loved Vita Nostra. It was in like my top books the year that I read it. I then read the sequel, which I gave 4 stars, but from looking online, I think they translated them out of order, and this book technically comes between those two, if I remember correctly from what I Googled back in the day. So I am looking forward to this one maybe filling in the gaps between those two books, or just hopefully living up to what was established in the first one. The second one was good. I still gave it 4 stars. So I'm looking forward to this regardless, but I have maybe some expectations for it, helping me appreciate the second one a bit more. And this is publishing on the 17th of June. So probably 3 days before this video gets posted. Okay, we also have a new Silvia Moreno Garcia coming out in July 15th to be exact, and that is The Bewitching. This is a multi-generational horror saga. Our main character, Minerva, is a graduate student who is researching horror literature, and then she finds out that one of the pieces of literature she has been studying may actually be a true story. And when she descends into her research, she feels this growing sense that someone is stalking the halls of her school, and the disturbing events echo the stories that her grandmother told her, great-grandmother. I do enjoy Sylvia Morena Garcia, great Canadian author, and I think this cover is really cool. I am into witches right now because Witchcraft for Wayward Girls got me in that mood. So I'm looking forward to this one and hope that it's a fun witchy time. And comes out in July. I might save this for like October if I can for more Halloween spooky vibes. Next we have Mayra by Nikki Gonzalez. This is a horror debut about a woman who, like, again, flees her hometown once she's old enough, and then she gets an invite from her childhood friend to go on like a weekend getaway, and she impulsively accepts. Old disagreements start to rise up, and Ingrid begins to lose a sense of the outside world and herself. I'm excited for that one. Swamps, very close to bogs, I think. I don't actually know. What is a bog? Maybe I should look into it. But that seems like a cool concept. Oh, Nikki Gonzalez is also a woman. Women really out here just dominating the horror scene, and I'm living for it. The next book is The Hounding by Zeno Purvis. It's totally a cover pick for me. One of my favorite things when I go to a museum is just try and find all the paintings with dogs in them. These dogs particularly kind of remind me of the ones I have tattooed on my leg for my Artemis tattoo. So that's why this is on the list. Let's see what it's about. This is a haunting debut about 5 sisters in a small village whose neighbors are convinced they're turning into dogs. Okay, so Night Bitch, but maybe hopefully not about motherhood. That would be so cool to me. The Hounding celebrates the wild breaks from convention we're all sometimes pulled towards, and wonders if in a world with this, it isn't safer to be a dog than an unusual young girl. Okay, someone who had a pretend to be a dog phase as a child, this one feels like it's gonna hit. I am looking forward to it. Cool cover, relatable situation, and horror. Who is this author? Is this also a woman? There's no biographical information. Fascinating. How mysterious. Next, I have been on a Delilah S. Dawson kick, so I am excited that she has a new one coming out in August as well, Ride or Die. This is a middle grade, so like I'm probably still gonna read it, but not with high expectations. A sleepover at an amusement park turns into a night of terror. Apparently, some kids playing truth or dare in an amusement park goes too far, and they come face to face with a reawakened evil. That could still be pretty good, even if it is middle grade. So, short, sweet, 224 pages. I love the color scheme of the book cover. It's very by Pride Flag. Happy Pride. Ride or Die with Delilah S. Dawson. She's my ride or die. Also Ride or Die, Chuck Tingle has a new book coming out. I've already pre-ordered this one. I'm so excited. Lucky Day by Chuck Tingle comes out on August 12th. Vera is a survivor of a global catastrophe known as the low probability event, but she definitely isn't thriving. When a problematic government agent knocks on her door, she's the only one who can help him uncover the connection between deadly spates of absurdity and improbably lucky casino. I think I read somewhere else that this main character is bisexual. This cover? Sick. Again, why I pre-ordered it. I'm hoping that it lives up to Bury Your Gaze as being in my top 5 of the year, and I'm gonna live for it, honestly. So, Lucky Day by Chuck Tingle. I already mentioned Calabasas. That's the other one that comes out in August that I have pre-ordered. I covered that in my last video, so I'm not gonna go over it again. Also, who doesn't know at this point that Calabasas comes out in August? I'm very excited. I pre-ordered the Sprayed Edges edition. Next is This Vicious Hunger by Francesca May. This is about a woman whose husband dies like a few weeks into their marriage, and she is offered a position to study botany at a university, and then she finds a mysterious illness is infecting the other mysterious young woman at this garden. This is kind of giving me some of the same feelings from the description that Eat the Ones You Love is, except I don't think this is from the perspective of the plant. So maybe this one will hit some of those same notes and be an improvement on it. I did end up getting Eat the Ones You Love like a 4. That's not been covered yet. I'm down for some more gothic fantasy about lesbian plants. Honestly, give it all to me. Next is Moonflow by Bitter Karella. This is a debut horror novel from a Hugo Award nominee, and it is a queer and irreverent psychedelic trip. Eldritch horror was the word I was looking for earlier instead of Lovecraftian. And the horrors of CIS-terhood is about someone who apparently harvests psychedelic mushrooms, and when they have a bad crop and are left needing a desperate fix, they wander into the woods and something is luring them into the heart of the forest. This intrigues me as a concept. Depending on how it's executed, I transparently never done psychedelics. Don't know what it's like. But I think it could be really interesting if it's done well. I do love an eldritch horror, and it says it's queer, so we all know all my favorite horror books are queer, so hoping that's really good. Next is A Blood as Bright as the Moon by Andrea Morstabilini. This comes out on September 2nd. This is a vampire novel. I do love a vampire novel. The cover on this one, super cool, because apparently there's like a secret society hunting down the vampires, so they decide to try and grow/build wings to move to the moon. What a concept. So wild. Queer gothic horror. Apparently that's going to be my genre going forward. Hopefully this one is good and I can continue my transformation into a queer gothic horror lover. Vampires growing wings. That's all I need to know. Next book, You Weren't Meant to Be Human by Andrew Joseph White. Have I read Andrew Joseph White before? I haven't read any Andrew Joseph White before, but I'm like familiar that other people really enjoy it. This is Alien Meets Midsommar, their adult novel debut. Excellent. This is about a mass of worms and flies that have taken root in Appalachia, and people like willingly join the hive mind. That sounds gross, but also I'm intrigued. Queer horror. There we go. Is it queer horror? Then I'm gonna want to read it. Probably the lamest cover of this bunch, honestly, but hopefully the content's great. Next is The Macabre? I don't know if I've ever said that word out loud before, by Costco Jackson. This is listed as a fantasy, but also says that it's horror. Okay. This is about 10 cursed paintings. I'm invested already. Our main character finds out about these cursed paintings and has been asked to destroy them all, so we plunge into the world of black markets, gothic magic, ancient history, and unspeakable terror to save those unlucky enough to call any of those paintings their own. This is giving Lightners from the Magnus Archives, which is cursed books, and if it can capture like even a fraction of that interesting plot, I'm totally in for this. That sounds fascinating. Cover's pretty sick too, so that should be cool. Kirsten White also has a new book coming out, The House of Quiet. I've been like really middling on Kirsten White's books, but I'm hoping every time I read one, it'll just like slightly improve and get better. This is again about someone whose sibling has gone missing, and they decide to pose as a maid to infiltrate the House of Quiet. I assume that's where she thinks her sister has gone missing, and it sits on a deadly bog. I don't know why bogs have become popular in fiction recently, but I'm going to be here for it because I am so fascinated by bogs. They preserve things, but they like consume them. So fascinating. She unearths terrifying threats and devastating truths, so gothic horror again. This is YA. It has a sick cover. It has bogs. What more could I ask for when I'm in my gothic horror about bogs era? And is there queer characters? It doesn't say. Hopefully it does. Also coming out, We Love You, Bunny by Mona Awad. This is the sequel to Bunny, which is one of my favorite books of all time. And I am so excited to read this. Comes out September 23rd. In the first book, Bunny, it is our main character who's in this like master's writing program with these friend group she calls the Bunnies, and there's some like dark academia magic going on, and it's very what the fuck fiction. I am so interested to see what Mona Awad has decided to do as a continuation. I do love Mona Awad as an author. Basically all of her books I've loved, other than like one short story collection, which we won't talk about. I'm looking forward to this one. My only thing is that I can't pre-order it in a paperback yet, and then it wouldn't match my copy of Bunny, and so I'm gonna have to wait if I want to buy a copy. That's my one downside about this novel. Okay, also a sequel coming out that I'm excited to read is a new Rick Riordan in the Percy Jackson series, but this time it's the Nico D'Angelo adventures. This one is The Court of the Dead, and these are co-written by Mark Oshiro. This one comes out on September 23rd. Apparently, in the first book, they convince monsters to not be evil anymore, so some are showing up at the camp to like seek refuge, and then they start going missing. I read these as like palate cleanser things. Nico D'Angelo was one of my favorite characters from the original Percy Jackson series, so I'm looking forward to developing this series more. But also, Rick Riordan, could you slow down like a little? Because I do still have like Magnus Chase and some of the other series to catch up on, so cool it. I guess we're just staying in sequel territory because Mate by Ali Hazelwood is also coming out October 7th. This is about a like human werewolf hybrid that we met in the first book and the Alpha of the Northwest Pack. I read paranormal romance because I think it's gonna be high literature? No, I read it because I want a fun time, and I'm hoping this is gonna be a fun time. I did love Bride. Hopefully Mate is just as good. I am on a bad streak of like liking the first novel of a romantasy or romance series and then not liking any of the follow-up ones, so hopefully this is the one to break my streak. Kyron Ennis, who wrote Leech, also has a new book coming out on October 14th, The Works of Vermin, and this cover is a work of art. This is about someone who works as an exterminator and has been sent into the sewers to kill a worm the size of a dragon with deadly venom and a ravenous taste for artwork? Okay. That sounds whimsical, while also horrifying at the same time. I understand now why this cover is a work of art, so looking forward to that. I did like Leech. I'm hoping this one can take some of that same energy. Next up is Futility by Nuzo Ono. This is publishing October 14th. The cover is giving me the eyes are the best part. This is about two women. One runs a very successful restaurant in Nigeria where she has a very special soup with a very secret ingredient, and the other is a British woman whose life is very much in order, but she's consumed by jealousy and resentment of her beloved son. And one day a trickster spirit offers them revenge for those who have wronged them, and they can't resist. It says for readers of My Sister the Serial Killer, which I did enjoy, and How to Kill Your Family, which I haven't. It says that the author is a recipient of a Bram Stoker Award for Lifetime Achievement. I have not heard or read from them before, so we'll see if this new release is one that I end up loving, because I'm very interested now. Queen of African Horror. Yeah, sure. I would love to expand my knowledge of horror into more African authors. Girl Dinner by Olivia Blake. I don't know how she writes so much if Gifted and Talented, which is a brick, came out this year, and then also this one's coming out this year. This is about two women at a university. One is a professor, one is a sophomore in a sorority, and each of them are drawn deeper into the arcane rituals of sisterhood. This sounds kind of witchy. It has dark academia listed as a genre, which sounds cool to me, and I do like the bright colors of the cover. I don't know, something about that combo. Really like it. I have enjoyed Olivia Blake in the past. I didn't end up finishing Gifted and Talented because I had to return it to the library and it's too long. But I'm looking forward to reading that one. Next we have When They Buried the Butterfly by Wen Yi Lee. This is about our main character who is living in Singapore. Her mom dies in a fire and has a mysterious butterfly seared into her skin, and then she sees a little girl in an alley with the same tattoo. So she goes into the hole to try and figure out what happened to her mother. In the meantime, bodies are showing up in the red light district with dark, strange magic around them, so they have to find their place once and for all. This is listed as a lesbian fantasy, so yeah, absolutely I'm gonna read that. It says the feverish intensity of the Poppy War. Cover's pretty cool. Concept's really cool. Trying to expand into different horror authors from different ethnicities. So some Singaporean horror sounds pretty cool. After really loving Don't Let the Forest In, I'm also excited that CJ Drews has a new book coming out, Hazelthorn. Same art style that Don't Let the Forest In has for the cover, so already sold. Our main character has been taken in by a billionaire when he was a child and has been given 3 rules. You can't leave the estate, you can't go into the gardens, and you can never be left alone with the billionaire's underachieving grandson. I'm going to guess, based on Don't Let the Forest In, that doesn't happen. I do see queer in the genres there. Okay, when Byron suddenly dies, Byron being the billionaire, Evander inherits the Gothic mansion and acres of sprawling grounds. There's just one caveat: he must choose a new guardian from amongst Laurie's scheming, backstabbing relatives to help manage the estate. Sounds Gothic. I trust C.G. Drews can write fucking immaculately, so that sounds really exciting. Brigands and Bread Knives is coming out. This is by Travis Baldry and is the sequel to Legends and Lattes. This comes out November 11th. These are cozy fantasy novels. This one appears to be from the perspective of the bookseller from Bookshops and Bone Dust. So apparently she is moving to the city to be alongside her absent friend's coffee shop, the coffee shop from Legends and Lattes. Drunken and desperate night sees the Ratkin waking far from home in the company of a legendary warrior surviving on inertia, an imprisoned chaos goblin with a fondness for silverware, and an absolutely thumping hangover. I love a ragtag found family, which seems like this is gonna give me that. So I'm looking forward to that. I did really like the 2 previous ones, hoping that one keeps it up. And the very last one on my list here is Snake Eater by T. Kingfisher. Cool cover. I love snakes. I have a snake tattoo. We're just covering all the tattoos today. Okay, a young woman seeking a fresh start is confronted by ancient gods. Okay, I can stop reading there. Amazing. When Selena travels to a remote desert in search of her estranged aunt Amelia, she is desperate and short of options. She has exactly $27 to her name, and her only friend in the world is her dog Cooper. On arrival, Selena learns Amelia is dead, but the inhabitants are only too happy to have a new resident. She sees no harm in staying. Famous last word. Amelia owed a debt, and now her god has come to collect. Sounds great. Cool cover. T. Kingfisher, I'm like so on. I think mostly just like the length of that series is not working for me, but I'm willing to give it another shot. Is that a kingfisher on the cover? What do kingfishers look like? Because I know it is a bird because I had to look it up. That is potentially a kingfisher. Fascinating. Okay, so those are the books that I'm looking forward to coming out in the remainder of the year, the ones that are on my radar. Let me know in the comments down below if you have thoughts about any of those books, or if you have any books coming out for the rest of the year I should add to my list. Bog Bodies, queer horror, really anything queer. I'm going to want to read it. Or if that's too much, just leave the snake emoji for the snake on this cover of this book. If you enjoyed, like and consider subscribing so you don't miss any of my future videos. In the description, there's links to my Goodreads, which has all of these books on there if you want to see what I'm reading, what I'm wanting to read. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.